Welcome to the Birth Words Podcast. This is episode number 42, and today I'm so excited to introduce you to Kerry Tuschoff, the founder and director of Hypnobabies, as she talks with us about the power of positive birth language.
Welcome to Birth Words. Words are powerful. What are you doing with yours? In this podcast, birth doula and applied linguistics scholar Sarah Pixton invites you to be intentional, reflective, and empowering with your language as we come together to honor those who give birth. The work of Birth Words is to elevate the language surrounding pregnancy, birth, and the postpartum period. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as medical advice.
Founder and director of Hypnobabies Childbirth Hypnosis, Kerry Tuschoff is a nationally renowned speaker and writer on a wide range of women's pregnancy and childbirth concerns. Her subjects include prenatal and childbirth choices, informed consent issues, health and low-risk status concerns, comfort in childbirth, the power of birth language, and midwifery advocacy. As a childbirth educator for 30 years, a doula and hypnotherapist, Kerry has developed many educational programs for birthing mothers, medical and childbirth professionals, and hypnotherapists. Kerry created a very comprehensive natural childbirth program of her own, Hypnobabies Childbirth Education. This unique program has trained hundreds of thousands of women to use medical-grade hypnosis techniques and give birth unmedicated in a much easier and more comfortable way. All right, welcome, Kerry, to the Birth Words Podcast. I'm so thrilled I get to talk with you today.
Thank you for having me. It's delightful.
I'm really looking forward to hearing your perspective about the role that language plays during pregnancy and birth, as we just talked about. I know it's something that we're both really passionate about. So can you start by just briefly telling us the story of how Hypnobabies came to be?
Well, it came to be because of my own births. Both of my babies were posterior babies, and I had been a Bradley instructor for 10 years. And during that time, I got pregnant and had these babies. And with the first one I had, thought I knew everything about having a baby. Then I went into labor. And with posterior babies, it's a little bit more challenging, or at least it was for me. For some people, not so much. But it was extremely painful.
Mm-hmm.
And with the second birthing, my sister was there with me. And during one excruciating, screaming contraction, she was holding my hands, and when it was over, I looked up into her tear-stained face, and she said, "It should never have to be this hard."
Mm-hmm.
And a light bulb went on over my head, and I realized that's absolutely true. If somebody wants a natural birthing, it should never be as hard as this. There should be more than the words "just relax" to help us through all this. So then it took me a couple years, and I went and took a training. I found actually a TV show about hypnosis for birth, and I went and took a hypnobirth training, and it wasn't what I was looking for. So I went and took training on hypnosis, and that's what taught me what the real deal was, what hypnoanesthesia is, which is hypnosis that they use for surgery. And people getting through surgery who have, maybe an allergy to the regular medical anesthetics. And so they have to use hypnosis, and they do very successfully. So that was it. That was what I wanted.
Wow.
That was what I was looking for. And I created Hypnobabies.
Wow. Okay. So I feel like we could dig into a lot of that, but since we are trying to keep it concise, let me go on and ask you the next question we have, which is, from your perspective, what role does language play during pregnancy, birth, and the postpartum period?
Well, a lot. Words are just such a powerful influence in our lives. We use language to describe our life experiences, and we use language to help us create our future experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then positive and encouraging words are used to define or create an experience. We can expect the outcomes will be more likely positive. And if the words used are negative or discouraging, they may undermine an experience altogether. So that is very true for pregnant and birthing women and postpartum women and new moms and just about anybody else.
Yeah.
So we can definitely affect the way that, as birth professionals, I should say, the way that our pregnant and birthing families react, how the things that they manifest from the words that we say. And one of the reasons why is because the way that the mind interprets language and shapes belief to create our physiological experiences is that a thought is thought because somebody said something or we thought something, and those were words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the words were spoken or said or thought, and then we think something. And when we think something, we feel something. When we feel something, we believe it, and then our body manifests things. So the body could respond physically with, say, hormones and other chemical messengers, and people also make decisions. Um, that or change their decisions based on the words that they've heard, which have created, of course, the thoughts and then the belief systems and then the fears and all those things. So my goal is for all birth professionals to basically take the fear out of the equation. And when we take the fear out of the equation, we can have better births. And I think everybody pretty much agrees with that. And a lot of this is maybe unfamiliar with some birth professionals, some not so much. Many people that I've talked to, midwives and doulas and nurses, really understand the power of encouraging language. But for those who have not known any of this before, I just ask you to listen with an open mind and heart. There is a quote from Ina May Gaskin that I would like to read, and it says, when I encounter a story that reveals something about a labor or birth that is new to me, I don't automatically dismiss it as untrue or irrelevant simply because I'm unfamiliar with the phenomenon it reveals.
Mm.
So when I tell birth professionals that it's possible for us to change outcomes by changing our language and the way that we convey messages to our pregnant and birthing moms, I just want them to hear that with an open mind and heart.
Yeah, I love that quote, and I love everything that you shared about the really impactful role that our words can play on our experiences and feelings. So, with Hypnobabies and just your personal thoughts and experiences, what linguistic modifications from how we normally would say things, the cultural norm, would you suggest for birthing families in order to have those healthy pregnancies and satisfying birth experiences?
Well, I think that anyone who is an authority figure or a perceived authority figure around pregnant and birthing and postpartum women and our families and new families, I think they all need to really understand that they are an authority figure. And what's important about that is that we have all been conditioned to accept the suggestions of authority figures without
Mm,
persuasion or argument, and it is the perception of authority that makes a person more suggestible. So when I say suggestible, I mean more open to believing whatever that person says.
mm-hmm.
For instance, if an authority figures, just let me say, are someone that we look up to and admire, we've been taught to respect. Maybe we've hired them for their expertise. Maybe we're taking a course or a class from them. Maybe it's somebody we're emotionally close to. So that could be doctors, nurses, midwives, CBEs, doulas, family members, friends, clergy, and the list goes on and on. But it has to be a perceived authority figure. And then once that person starts to speak, the words they say have an even more of a bigger impact on on us in general, but especially when we're pregnant, because we're worrying for two. And especially now, of course, with the virus and everything. So I want to say something before I talk about what we can do, what words we can change, what phrases we can change. I want to remind people of what's called the placebo effect. And that is, it's a well-known phenomenon, and where symptoms can actually improve if a patient simply believes that they are being treated in a certain way. So if you give them a pill or a treatment or something and you say, this is going to improve your symptoms, make you feel better, fix you, heal you, whatever it is, if they believe that that is the truth, even if it's a sugar pill, things will get better. And that is because of the power of the mind. So anybody who studies the mind, studies neuro-linguistic programming like I have, you learn how the mind works and how it takes these messages and translates them, basically changes them into the effects that happen in the body. And so this is often seen in expectant and birthing women, since what they believe is going to happen can become manifested. And that happens a lot if somebody says, childbirth is just painful, so be expecting it. It's that very expectation that can literally manifest it. Now, that doesn't mean that childbirth wouldn't be normally painful, although it's not for some people. So to tell somebody that it's going to be painful and you are an authority figure is basically programming that in. Now, on the flip side of that, and this is super important, there's something called the nocebo effect, which is when you warn people, like I just said. Negative expectations can also produce harmful effects. And patients or moms, pregnant women who suffer harmful side effects may do so only because they have been told to expect them. This is also scientifically proven that when you tell somebody that it's going to hurt or burn or sting, right in the moment, especially as an authority figure, you are literally programming that in. And one of the things that happens that we see a lot is a well-meaning, very well-meaning nurse or childbirth educator, doula or midwife or doctor saying, now you're going to, feel the ring of fire in a few minutes. Well, that person may not have felt that at all. And what we could have said is, there's going to be a tremendous stretching feeling. Now, that could be anything. Literally, we've had people have a stretching feeling that has numbness associated with it, especially in Hypnobabies, because we basically program that in with our hypnosis. But other people have experienced it too, simply by virtue of the skin stretching. So if we tell people they're going to experience it and they are in this state where they're pushing the baby out, there's a lot going on in their body, they might be a little frightened. And of course, they're in an altered state already because they're, having a baby. Then we've literally created and manifested that right in the moment. So there are many, many things that we can do. What can we do? We can use language that what we call, when I talk about this, when I give lectures on this and do speaking events, we call it encouraging language. Okay? So instead of saying, there's 3 things about labor, it's hard work, it hurts a lot, and you can do it, we could say, birth is normal, it's powerful, and women's bodies are created for it. Now, wouldn't you say that that is much more encouraging, but also very, very true?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Now, we hear this all the time. Birth includes pain, but the pain is purposeful. Well, if you really look at that phrase, it's a catch-22. Because you as an authority figure telling somebody that their pain brings them their baby, it's a catch-22. They don't want the pain, but in order to get the baby, they have to have pain. So they literally will manifest it from hearing that phrase. So we could say, birth is powerful, intense even, and has a beautiful purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's another one. As dilation progresses, the sensation of pain will increase. That's not necessarily true, especially with our Hypnobabies moms. But we could say, as dilation progresses, the more powerful the sensations of birth become. That could end up being anything.
Yeah.
So there are many things that we can do to help our pregnant and birthing families, postpartum families, to expect a better time of it. And then inside, the fear will not manifest things like constricted muscles, constricted veins. Catecholamines are stress hormones, and they are created from fear.
Yeah.
And so in the moment, right in the moment, adrenaline can shoot through a mom, and a perfectly normal birthing can turn into a dysfunctional one. And that is because of something someone said. I literally watched a birth video, and the mom was 5 centimeters dilated, and the doula, who was a wonderful gal, was doing a great job supporting this mom. And the mom got finished with a difficult birthing wave and looked up into the doula's eyes, and the doula held her hand, looked into her eyes, and said, "This is the hardest thing you will ever do in your life." And that mom turned white. And after that, there was a lot of screaming, because somebody who she had hired for that comfort, for that encouragement to help support her and everything, just told her that this was the hardest thing she will ever do in her life. Oh my gosh. You can tell I'm passionate about this because
Yeah.
just a few words. It's just shifting a few words. What if she said, "This is the most powerful and
Yeah.
empowering thing you will ever do"? Oh my gosh. We just shifted it. We shifted the belief system. We shifted the encouragement. We shifted everything. So now that mom's like, yeah, 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 instead of going white with fear.
Yeah.
So see what I mean?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot to know. And I have a course that I put online called the Transformative Power of Birth Language. Only our Hypnobabies instructor trainees are able to take it. But I'm going to put it online and then let other birth professionals take it after I tweak it a little bit for the general public. And
Nice.
I hope everybody will enjoy it a lot, because there are pages and pages and pages of what we call power language for birth professionals. And that is taking little phrases that we normally say, like I did a few minutes ago, and tweaking them and changing them so that they become empowering and encouraging. So I hope everyone will consider taking that course. It's going to be great.
Yeah, what a great teaser. We'll definitely have to keep tabs on just the Hypnobabies website. Is that where we'll find out when it's available to all birth professionals?
Yes, on our website, on our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We'll be announcing it everywhere.
Awesome. I'll look forward to it. That's excellent. I love the specific examples that you gave. I just got chills when you shifted just a few words, like you're saying, to really emphasize the power and the wonder of the experience of giving birth.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You mentioned that this was going to be on Facebook and Instagram and your website. Can you share that information right now so that people can connect with you?
Oh, sure. On Facebook, we're Hypnobabies Official. And on Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram, we are Hypnobabies, at Hypnobabies, basically. And we also have groups on LinkedIn as well. We have a birth professionals group on LinkedIn. We have 13 Facebook groups.
Nice.
We do hypnodoula training as well, just aside from what we're talking about. And that is teaching doulas and midwives and even labor and delivery nurses how to birth assist people who are doing a hypnobirth type of birthing a lot better, so that they can use the right language and use the right messages and really help these people so much more. And of course, we have our Hypnobabies instructor training so that if anybody wants to become a certified Hypnobabies instructor and teach classes in your area, that's coming up in October.
Excellent. Awesome. So many awesome resources. I hope that many people will check them out and connect with you. Yeah, it's awesome. So my last question for you as we wrap up is, if you could choose just one word to summarize your feelings about this topic, about birth and power and everything we've been talking about, what word would it be?
Hopeful.
Mm.
Yeah, we need some shifting. We need some general shifting, and I'm hopeful that is going to take place, not just with language, but with the perception of the power of birthing, real birthing, physiological birthing. And I, I kind of feel it. I kind of feel it. I've been around for 30 years in the birthing world, and I feel that there is a shift more towards physiological birthing. So hopeful.
Beautiful. I love it. I am excited to see the manifestation of that hope. This will be a fun ride for all of us.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you so much, Kerry, for joining me today on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate you asking me to be on, and it was a great opportunity to help people learn a little bit of
Teaser.
the great deal of information that there is about, how changing our language can help change birthing.
Yeah, I think it was a really tantalizing teaser. Hopefully we'll find out more about all the other resources that you have soon.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you're interested in sharing your ideas or experiences on the podcast, go to birthwords.com. If you're liking what you hear, please leave a review on your podcast app. For more resources about language for a better birth, subscribe to the monthly newsletter at birthwords.com and follow Birthwords on Instagram and Facebook.